Hey everyone, I'm Marcus Grimm with Medtrics, and I am excited to have Santhosh Cherian here with me today to talk about yet another resource available on the MedtricsLab.com website. Tosh, how are we doing, my friend?
Doing great.
You and I were having a conversation several weeks ago. We always get excited when those RFP requests come through the email, and we always learn a lot through those RFPs and participate in the RFP process. But along the way, I think anyone who's ever worked on an RFP has had the situation come up where you get an RFP and you're like, okay, there's a lot of good questions here, but wow, I'm surprised they didn't ask about this, or I'm surprised they didn't ask about that. And let's face it, writing a comprehensive RFP for medical education software, it's not easy to do, right? So we've got this new guide out, which teaches UME organizations how to actually prepare the ideal RFP for medical education software. Posh, I'm really excited about this resource. Like all of our resources, there's a lot in there. But I did want to ask you, a couple questions, and these are things that people can find inside the resource. The first one, what is the most common mistake you see when schools write an RFP for medical education software?
The most common mistake is focusing all of your effort in your current software or the current way you're doing things.
Sometimes really hard to be looking ahead, but when you make these software decisions, this is not stuff that you're plugging in and unplugging 6 months later, right? So you really sort of need to be thinking about the future. Is that what you're getting at?
Absolutely. You want to go back to your people and ask them, what are the root operations that they're managing, and understand the problems that they're solving and put the RFP around the problems, not the solutions that you need, because the solutions that your team can offer may be limited to what they have seen. I think Steve Jobs said, if Henry Ford had asked everybody, what do you want? People would have said a faster horse, because they've never seen a car.
If you're overly prescriptive in that RFP, what's going to happen is you're not going to be engaging with those vendors to see how can they solve or improve your process. Because you talk a lot about this at Medtrics, that many times when you're onboarding a new client, it's not just doing exactly what they asked you to do, but revisiting or questioning some of the processes that are in place, right? And so if you are overly prescriptive in that RFP, you kind of don't get to see what the vendor's made out of from a problem solving standpoint. Is that fair?
Yeah, whenever I speak to an organization in a sales relationship, I want to make sure they walk away learning something. I like to challenge their thinking, making sure they have thought several steps ahead and they're trying to solve for the root cause and not simply putting a Band-Aid on a problem which may not address the issue a year down the road.
It's really well said too. And listen, you've been very blunt about this, that if you compare Medtrics to other programs out there on a pure feature by feature basis, you're going to see relative parity across the board. We have features that we're excited about and we get really enthused about talking about. But if your RFP is overly prescriptive to solution to solution to solution, it feels like it's going to be really hard to find the vendor that really stands out for your needs, right?
When I talk to an organization, I give them our competitors' names and say, you should go see those products because this is giving them more information. I have no problem with us sharing this information because all of us in the market, we take a spreadsheet and write up down all of our features, probably the same list. But what really matters is usability. How many clicks does it take to get things done? And that directly ties to the deep understanding of the team that built it. And the second thing is, who is working with you to implement that software? Do they really understand the jargon and the operations, and have they walked in your shoes? And if they have, you're going to be able to talk to them in your language and focus on your root causes rather than trying to explain your operations or medical education operations to that team.
It's really well said, and it actually brings me to my second question that I want to ask you. Again, specific to RFPs. If a program wants to build a better RFP, what's one thing that they should definitely include in that RFP, but probably don't?
They need to look at the team. A lot of times, they don't even ask questions about who do you employ? How do you hire? You're dealing with enterprise software. This is not a traditional B2B where you can just swap out. There's a high-touch onboarding. Software can be modified and improved quickly these days. So the features are secondary to the team behind it. In your RFP, you should be scrutinizing the people in the company and even the ownership of the company. The owners or the shareholders of that company directly dictates where the long-term strategy is. If the shareholders are private equity firms, the long-term strategy is not to improve every medical education department. is to return value to the shareholders. So that means that decisions are sometimes made that will jeopardize the product strategy. Building software takes capital, and improving it takes more capital. So companies that are able to do that and continuously iterate and improve is going to end up getting a better result for your organization because they're keeping up with the needs of the medical education community.
Terrific. That's 2 great tips on how to improve your RFPs for undergraduate medical education software. There's a whole bunch more of them in a brand new resource that's available for everyone on the metricslab.com website. Have a great day, everyone.